Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the YouTube channel and also the podcast season 3. We are on episode 22. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now before it becomes anything else online. I know I look small compared to him in this chair. I know I look small compared to him in this chair. And I know before people say, oh yeah, this guy needs to hit the gym. Yes, I will probably after this be inspired enough to get into some kind of physical physique after seeing the shots that they just showed us. But bismillah, alhamdulillah, guys, I'm honored to be accompanied by a friend and a guest to go ahead and give you guys some gems. Mr. Amin, go ahead. This one is your camera. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to go ahead and start the podcast.
Yeah, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So my name is Amin Touati.
How do you pronounce that?
Amin.
The last name.
Touati. It's an Algerian name.
Algerian.
I grew up in Sweden, but my parents are originally from Algeria.
Okay.
And I'm a Jiu Jitsu black belt, martial arts educator, and working with kids, working with adults, teaching self-defense, working on character development, helping brothers getting in shape, mentally, physically.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Whoa. See, this is the good thing. Look, I didn't know. So you're telling me that it's beyond just physical, like black belt. Is it jiu-jitsu? Is it jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Okay. Us Americans, we have a hard time pronouncing things.
Yeah.
But so it's more than physical. So because you said mentally. So I never thought about the mental aspect. Like, I'm going to shoot straight at this one. Can you talk about a little bit about the mental aspect or some things that somebody about the mental aspect about it? Because I don't think I never thought about it like that. I always just see physical used to be muscular and things like that.
Yeah.
So what about the physical? The mental aspect.
Most martial arts, even sports in general as well, has a lot to do with the mental aspect. Even in football, basketball, if you ask people like Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, what's the difference between these guys and the other guys? They will all say it's the mental part. They had something that other people didn't have.
Yeah.
So I would say normally it's like the 80-20 rule. 80 mental and 20 being physically strong.
Only 20?
From my experience, I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. Like if you really want to be good at something and keep at it for a long time, the thing that's going to get you through all that time is the mental part, not the physical part. Because it's easy to train, let's say for 6 months, 1 year, but you don't find a lot of guys who stick with something for a long time, right?
That is true.
So this is where the mental part comes in. And
so you actually help people with the mental aspect as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's actually the first. Like when I talk to people and I try to invite them to train jiu-jitsu, most people always say I'm not fit, I'm not this, I'm working, But if you dig deep, many times, especially when you talk to men, it can be a little bit of an ego, Like they might be afraid to step on the mat, to wrestle with someone, nobody wants to look bad. So a lot of times I have to talk with them.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's been months, like 3 months, 6 months. Finally, they step on the mat. And after like a week, they're like, oh, I can do it.
Yeah.
Right? So he passed that mental barrier. And now you start with the physical. You still have to work on the mental part.
Yeah.
But it's just that first step to actually start and to believe that you can do it. That's where the mental part comes in.
Interesting. And it's, I told you my style, that I'm quite spontaneous and let it freestyle. The second you said mat, a trauma came to me. And I don't know if my mother and my father are going to see this episode, but they took us to, we used to call it in America, karate, karate, or, like this. So we were taken to the karate place, and it was like a black screen, right? And my brother and I, we were there, and the instructor, like yourself, I don't know what we saw. We were watching Ninja Turtles, we were watching Power Rangers, and we were watching Karate Kid. We don't know what we saw, but all we know, or WWE, or whatever it is, all I remember we did was when the guy went like this, me and my brother, both of us, we just kicked him right square in the, the private area. And we got kicked out. And I never touched the mat since that day. So the second you said the mat, I instantly just remembered as a kid me kicking the instructor in the private area and never
you
going
kicked
back
the instructor
in the private area. Yeah. So that was my experience with this. So it's wild that actually I'm sitting across now and almost how many years later? Probably 28 years later with an instructor about this. So I'm going to naturally drive it into kids. How important is it for the kids to have this mental and physical aspect with the technology today?
It's very important. Yeah. Very, very important. I mean, most kids, including my kids, school is iPad. They come home, iPad, laptop, phones. It's like they live in a bubble, right? There's no physical. They don't go out much, especially here in Dubai. It's hot. There's not much to do.
Yeah.
So again, to step on the mat, right? To learn a martial arts makes a big difference in kids' life. I think martial arts is way better than any other sport. Like football, basketball. I'm not going to hate on the other sports, but it doesn't give you the same benefits as martial arts. Like the confidence that you get from martial arts, you're not going to get from football, right? The discipline that you get. Again, this is from my experience, right? I've been doing this for over 20 years now. And you cannot compare this with other sports. Like it's completely different, right? Yeah.
So that is true. But it brings me into the part about where, like for the kids, like back in the day, we used to go outside and play. Like you said, here it's hot and things like that. So, and also kids have a lot of a less attention span today than probably before. So what are and what you guys offer, what are some things that you guys do to make the kids engaged and want to go forward with it? Because there's different categories. There's kids that's doing it. And then even me as an adult, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I would want to touch the mat or something. So first kids and then adults, what are you guys offering? First, tell us the name of where.
My place. I have an academy called the Antara Academy in Jumeirah.
Okay.
Our main focus is character development. So that's coming back to that 80-20 rule. We do teach Jiu Jitsu, self-defense and the sport aspect of it. But the main thing is character development, right? A lot of complaints from parents, wherever they're from, Americans, Chinese, African, they all say, my kids are not like me. Like I used to grow up, even if they're not from the hood or from the ghetto, still they always say I used to play, I went out, it was more rough. But kids in Dubai, delivery, talabat, drivers, nanny, it's
still
it might be nice, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Like if you as a with your nifs, if you grow up with no resistance in your life, when you become an adult, it's gonna be the same thing. As soon as something gets hard, you're gonna be
Yeah, I know.
So that's one of the main things we focus on, right? Building confidence. We teach them how to set goals, right? Develop discipline and having a mindset of excellence.
Yeah.
That's the main core of our program for the kids.
Yeah, I think this is excellent especially for my viewers and even for myself. I have 4 kids and a 5th one on the way. Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
Now, there will be 3 boys and then there's 2 girls. Now, that's true. When you explain Taliban, the iPads, they're homeschooled, and you know what I'm saying. Like these exact things that you're talking about, I'm facing, and I would love. We look at what kind of activities can we get our kids into? We've tried swimming. Alhamdulillah, they learned how to swim. But this is the one that I think that, we're looking for. And I think a lot of the parents out there, especially those who made Hijrah here and things like that. You said you've been here for 20 years. I want to ask a couple of questions about that. That's something that's just needed. And I think, we're definitely going to have to look into that. Now, you said 20 years, but you're originally from Sweden.
Yeah, I was born in Sweden.
Did you go to school there or did you go to school here?
No, I came in when I was 25. I'm turning 47 now, so I came in when I was 26.
Okay.
26. So I was in Sweden until 26. Then I came to Dubai.
What would you say is some of the best? First, what do you miss the most from 20 years ago when you first came here? And then what is some of the best changes now here in Dubai or UAE?
What I miss, how can I say this in a good? I just felt like it was more Emirati back in the days.
You know
what I mean? Like I was here and I was really living in the Emirates, right? You really felt the Emirati culture. Now it's like it's an international city, right?
Yeah.
And I miss that all. I'm not saying that in a good or bad way, but I really miss that feeling I was in the Emirates, with the culture, with the traditions. When it's still there, but you have to look for it. Yeah, you have to look for it.
But before it was just there. It was there.
It was in your face everywhere.
It was in your face. Listen, my dad used to be in the Navy, and he actually came here a long time ago, and he told me, he said, when I first went there was just a Hard Rock down there near Mall of Emirates, and then there was the World Trade Center white building down there near, going towards the Dara. He was like that. He was like that was mainly the whole thing. Like back in the day, he was like, yeah, it was like that. But now, as we see, every day new buildings.
Mashallah, it's but like any city,
it grows.
Paris, London, New York. There was a time they were very small. It was very right. The good thing now, even though we complain about Talabat, let's be honest.
Oh, we love it. Noon minutes comes. How long does it take? Noon minutes come how long fast?
I swear to God, I actually told my wife, I said, this is not good. Like, this is not good for human beings, Like, you order something, it comes within 10 minutes. Like, you get two. So I like it, but at the same time, because I'm a person, I truly believe, like, you should not be comfortable.
Yeah.
As a man,
especially in this world.
Yes, you should not be. I'm really trying to push my kids and even the students as well. Like, you have to love to suffer. Like, you need to struggle.
Yes, we do.
But so we love Talabat, we love noon minutes.
But hey,
it makes you a little bit soft,
they make it very easy for us. Yeah,
it makes it a little bit, and it's not part of the rest of the. If this was normal
everywhere else,
you would say okay. But it's unique to the. Even when I go back to Sweden is like a developed country,
Yeah.
But it's not close to here.
Yeah, it's not. I know.
You actually have to walk.
I was in US last year. This time last year I was in USA, and it's funny you're saying that because for me it's like you gotta remember I was living in Dubai for a lot. It was almost 2.5, 3 years last year that I was here. So I got really used to everything. So when I landed in America and I got to Virginia, I was just like going on my phone and like I clicked TikTok as well. And then I looked at the TikTok and said, whoa, I just shut the TikTok. And then I was like, okay, I want to get food. And my mom was like, boy, you better go to the grocery store. Yeah. And I was like, Mom, go to the grocery store and get my groceries. She was like, yeah. And I was like, wait, I have to go put the groceries in the basket, put them in my car, carry them into my house. And I was like, and then it clicked then. So that is so true, bro.
But we're laughing because we grew up like that, right?
We grew up like that.
You go to the shop, you pick up the groceries. But for our kids, right? Living in this bubble, never have to carry anything, never have to do anything. Everything gets delivered within 5 minutes. It's gonna come a day when they're gonna, inshallah, they might leave to another country. It's gonna be like a shock.
A really big shock.
Right? So for me, when I teach my own kids and I teach my students, I'm trying to do as much as I can, at least to make them understand that, you know what I mean? It's going to look a little bit outside when you go. It's going to look different when you go outside.
Yeah.
So if you can prepare them mentally for at least something different, right? Don't have them remove the fear of struggle.
Yeah.
Right. I think that would be very good benefit, and even for adults, like to love hardship. Like it should be. And as a Muslim, you should not be. You should not be or loving to be too comfortable, right? You should. When I say comfortable, I'm not saying like, okay, you want to live in war, you want to live like, starving, your kids don't have food. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying like some basic stuff.
Of course.
Like you're too lazy just to walk. You know what I mean? Like when my brother was here, he visited from Sweden, and we went to a shop. And I wanted to park the car, and you get this habit of like, I want to park like right outside. The door. I don't want to walk. So we kept driving, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, I just had to find." He said, "Just park over there. We cross the street." I said, "No, let me." He said, "It's just across the street. Like just park the car and we cross." I said, "Okay." But it just it made you realize like how lazy I become. Like you want like the minimum, right? That's dangerous, brother. It's dangerous.
And look, and I told you that this is my style. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful that Allah always puts someone across so that we benefit each other. And I think that's probably like the best part of this podcast is that we get to benefit each other. And everything you're saying is true. And it's funny because I'm actually going through these things. Like I do the same thing when I go to Dubai Hills, Mall of Emirates. I park the same exact places at Dubai Mall. Everywhere I go, I'm parking not the same slot, but the same area. Like if it's like P1, P5 or something like this, I'm parking in the same places just because I know when I go in, there's a prayer room or there's this and there's like, you know, I'm doing the same thing.
Just when I came here today.
Yeah.
And you told me, Roy, I said, I'm going to B4. You're like, oh my God, B4.
Well, no. Why are you going all the way down?
It's normal, you know, but just going down for you know.
Yeah, why you got to drive all the way down to the B4? I was like, bro, just park here, right here on B1 and just come up to the first floor. It's so true. So true. So I want to know about Sweden. Because all I know about Sweden is IKEA. And I think I had one other brother, he was from Sweden as well on the podcast from the last season.
Okay.
How is it from like, did you start Jiu-Jitsu there?
Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. Did you start it there? Is that where it started in Sweden?
No, I actually started here, believe it or not. Before, I used to, my first time when I came to Dubai, I was actually working as a chef. I hated that job.
You can cook?
Yeah.
Me too, bro.
No, but what I realized, I loved cooking, but for myself, not for other people.
Oh, yeah.
So I just stopped.
No, I'm too shy to cook for others. Because I don't know, like for me, mashallah, I can cook. But like, I don't think I would want to cook for others. Like, I'm so shy to cook for others. But for myself, for my family, my kids love my food.
No, I worked for a couple of years. I was in London for a year, like in 5-star hotels in Sweden. And I got a job here. And the salary, you're going to laugh. The salary was like 1,200 dirhams. Even back even back in those days, people were like, whoa. But I wanted to leave so much, right? I wanted to live.
Was your intention Hijrah?
Yeah, not. I wanted to live in a Muslim country, but not Hijrah.
Oh, you didn't. Like, you didn't develop that intention.
No. I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to see what it was like. After I came in, it took me like a week. I said, "This 1,200 is not gonna do anything for me." Like it's, They gave me like a room. I think it was like 5-6 Indian guys, and it was like that was my first shock. In Sweden, you don't see this. It's like it's impossible. You don't live with like 5-6 guys.
Only if you're
and they're like, okay, you're gonna work morning to night, 6 days a week. You're gonna stay in this little room with 6 other guys. I'm like, what did I put myself in? What did I sign up? Either way, there was a brother who helped me coming here.
Yeah.
He was a good friend with an American brother who's now one of my closest friends, and he's been like an older brother for me for all these years, like since 2002. First time I came, I think, was 2002. As a chef.
Maybe oh no, he's a chef. No, never mind.
No, he's not a chef.
Is he a teacher?
No. He's an ex-ranger. He's a soldier.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the one who actually built me here.
Oh,
that's why I always talk about, love to suffer, being stuff. This is all this army talk you put in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was like, kind of. I thought it was tough, but
they'll show you.
So he said, "Oh, there's a guy, he knows jiu-jitsu." I said, "Wow, that stuff on the TV." He said, "Yeah, he knows." At that time he wasn't like really advanced. He's a black belt today, but at that time it was like, normal, I would say. And he said, "Oh, you have to see this." And when I saw him, you have to see this. Like when people see him, they're like, "Man, he knows something." he's just one of those guys. Like you like see the Miyagi, No, he's the opposite of Miyagi. Yeah. North Carolina, huge, no neck, big, like 110 kg. And you see this guy like, man, and it actually happened. Like I've been with him and people come up to him like, "I know you do something. Like I know you fight or you do like you're a soldier." So he just had that kind of look,
Yeah.
So I started training with him a little bit, and I left that chef job and went back to Sweden. And I told him, I said, "I'm going to start training now. I like this jiu-jitsu stuff, so I'm gonna start training it." And then I went back. I found a place in Sweden. I started training, and then I think in 2005, I came one or two times before I actually moved here, right? Yeah. But both of the times, subhanAllah, I actually came for money, right? When I came here, because in Sweden,
just remember that because I need to ask the question.
Yeah. In Sweden, brothers normally, they don't make that much money. In general. Okay? It's like you see the immigrants here, maybe like Indians, Pakistanis. For us, our parents, they come, they work as, drivers, cleaners.
Yeah.
This is back in the days. Now it's changed. Like the second generation, of course, they do whatever. What the other guys are doing. But I'm saying the first generations, it was same like you might see the South Asians here, So either way, now I lost where I was going with this, man.
You were explaining how like you came here the first time for money.
Yes, for money. So the first time I came here, I'm like, man, I didn't know brothers could live like this because I only knew Algeria.
Yeah,
Algeria is what you see on TV. When they show you Muslim countries on TV, that's where you sit in Sweden and you look at Iraq, you see Algeria, and you think like, oh, all these Muslim countries are like way.
Yeah, that's what we think. Yeah,
that's what they want you to think like that. I didn't realize that until afterwards. Like once you grow older, you start like, man, they like put that in your mind since you're a kid. Like, or
Africa is poor. Or Africa's poor. I always wanted to go because obviously being Christian before, I always wanted to go with the people to go to Africa to give this stuff. I said, look, if I'm gonna give you money and you're gonna go to whatever country in West Africa and you're gonna give these children this stuff, I want to fly with you there and I want to physically give it to them, And that was always one of my like really big dreams before Islam was to actually go to Africa and actually give it with my own hand. And they used to always tell me at the church, like, no, you can't go, only we can go and this and that. And I never really understood. And I always thought Africa was just poor, like lions, giraffes, and rhinos. I literally thought it was a safari with just the poor people. And then like, when I went to England, I saw different. But I want to throw in one question. Yeah. Not to cut you off. Sorry, not to cut you off. Please give my viewers, they like almost all of them want to leave from the West, USA, UK, and they want to come here. Yeah. The number one thing, bro, they always say is the money. So explain it to them that when you come for money, explain it. What's the difference for coming for money and coming for what ended up coming for?
This is what happened to me. So the first 2 times, I'm like, mashallah, Muslims are living large, man. I saw brothers in Porsche and, living big houses. And I said, oh, this is what I want. That was the first time. I went back. Second time, I said, I'm going to try again. Same thing. The intention was to make as much money as possible and go back to Sweden. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
The third time, like I was really going down in Sweden. It was a lot of personal stuff going on. I said, no, I have to leave. But this time I was making du'as a lot. Like now, I'm not coming back. Like I'm going fi sabilillah.
Yes.
No cash, no nothing. Yes. Like I'm going, I want to be close to the masjid. And Allah opened the door for me. And since that day, I've still been here for 20 years.
See, that is beautiful, beautiful. Jamila. This is what I love to hear. Now, there's a double-edged sword with this. Yeah. Let me tell you why. Because for me, everybody knows, I've talked about it many times. I came clearly for that. But then once you get here, the intention can change. The intention can change. Once you're here, you have to renew it. Because you may get here and then Allah may test you a different way. Cool, money will come. Now what will you do? And then now you circle back around. And then now that you're here, now your intention may change. Like, okay, cool that I'm here. Now you may think that, oh, yeah, I need money. But Allah is the one who got you here, provided for you, made you get to that position, let you get back to this one to test you again if your intention still was for him really in the first place. You understand? Yeah. That's deep. It's deep. So for 20 years, what advice can you give someone like myself who came 4 years ago, who came fi sabilillah, maybe experienced some stuff, and then now it's kind of like, oh yeah, now maybe going for the money. Like, what would you say about that? Like, how can you? Yeah, that's deep, man.
If you have the intention to make hijrah,
yeah,
you have to really put in your heart and your mind that things are going to happen. Because it's easy to make hijrah. If I take, like, if you're in the States and you're making whatever, let's say $2,000 per month, and I say, oh, I'm going to give you a job in Dubai for $5,000. You're like, yeah, I'm going to make hijrah, man. You know what I mean? Like, you go, you live a good life. Yeah. But if it's the opposite, if you make $10,000 a month, right? You're in the States with your wife, with your kids, you're making $10,000. They have a good life. They go to a good school. They got all the, being comfortable life, right? And then they tell you, look, we have an opening in any Muslim country. Like, you're gonna make maybe like $2,000, 2,000. You're gonna struggle. Your kids are not gonna go in a nice private school, in a good school, but not a flashy one. Would you still go? Because what's Hijrah? Is Hijrah going for a better financial situation, or is it going fi sabilillah? Because if it is, you're gonna. Alhamdulillah, I have a good lifetime. Like,
alhamdulillah.
But it's been up and down. There was a time later I was sleeping in a shopping mall for 2 months. I was homeless. I got kicked out from a villa that I was staying in, and my first job when I came in was 3,000 dirhams.
But when you went through the hardship, and say for example you were in the shopping mall or in the villa, what made you not want to give up and go back to Sweden when that test comes? Because wallahi, the test's gonna come. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna come. What did you do in that moment where you said, nah, I'm not going back? Like, what did you do? Like, how did you now that comes to the mental part.
I know.
It's the mental part.
Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Two things. Number one, yes, I said I'm gonna 50% was like, yes, fisabilillah, right? Hijrah. But the other 50 was like, I can't go back. Like, it was like a pride for me. Like, I put so much into this. So the shame of going back, like I wouldn't be able to look myself at, you know what I mean?
I know.
Because you tell the brothers, you're like, man,
the
you tell like, okay, I'm doing Hijrah, I'm doing this, and then after a couple of years, they're like, oh, you're here?
You're back?
You're back.
That's the worst feeling. That's the worst.
That's what stopped. Like the shame of saying doing Hijrah, but then when it got hard, you went back.
Yeah. Imagine me, my face is on the internet with it. You know what I'm saying? You could not. But you know what? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the intention and He knows. So the time I had my lowest time, I couldn't go. My daughter didn't have a passport or Emirates ID. My passport was in USA. I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
The 1 second I was like, oh, I kind of miss home. Something like that. I couldn't leave. So, alhamdulillah, if the niyyah is sahih, you won't even be able to go. Or like, for example, I'll keep it real. Right now, I'm renewing my visa. I've just come down from partner. I'm going to be an employee under the company La Breeze. I'm breaking the news here on season 3, guys. I'm not running La Breeze anymore. I'm still doing real estate, but my business partners come over. They took over. I moved down to just being a broker. Right? I'm not a business owner. I'm not scared to say it. So for that, right now, maybe I'm at a low. I can't even go nowhere. I want to go. I said I want to go Thailand. I want to go Bahrain. Bro, I can't go nowhere. You understand? When that test is happening, you can't even go. Allah don't even let you go. It's deep.
But again, what's Hijrah? People have to, I talk with some brothers.
Yeah.
And I know it's not easy. Like if you're married, I came by myself. I got married after I came here.
When you were here?
Yeah, after I came here. But still, like I have, may Allah protect us from this, because it's easy to test and thought. Maybe Allah is going to put you to a test so hard, you just break and, you're back out. So
Allah protect us.
But there's been times where they have like a certain lifestyle, right? And once they can't have that lifestyle, they go back. So let's say they did Hijrah, right? But once they could not sustain the lifestyle that they had, like I'm talking about the comfortable lifestyle, then they're like, you know what? Especially for us who comes from the socialist countries. I don't know in the States, but if you come like Sweden, UK, France.
Is UK one?
Yes, I think they're socialists. I think like the government does everything for you.
Yes, that is.
In the UK, it's dangerous.
It's scary. It's very scary.
They pay for your kids. They pay, and if we're gonna be really honest, the biggest fitna is for the sisters, right? Because they know in the West they get taken care of, right?
Oh, if my husband don't do it, the government will.
The government will do it. Right? They take care of your kids, free school, free this, free that, free. So it's like, okay, you're going to stay in a non-Muslim country. Everything is free, right? Or you stay in a Muslim country and you have to fight. I'm actually happy that Allah put me in this position because I was very lazy. Not only me, there's a lot of brothers who you get used to the system.
Yes.
Right? They're super socialists in Sweden. They really put it in your mind that from the day you're born, government is everything. Right, but they also own you.
I heard they can
take your kid like this. Trust me, you ask anyone who lives in Sweden. They take your kid like, if they feel like you're not a good parent, right? They used to come and like, oh, if your parents slap you, come straight away to us, right? They teach you from a young age, like nobody puts a head, you know, you can't touch kids. So if you would go to your teacher, oh, my dad is, you know, like basic stuff, you know.
Yeah. Oh man, I would have had a different family, different the way I was raised.
They take your kids, so they help you, they give you everything.
Yeah.
But they own you.
Yeah.
Here you have to struggle, but alhamdulillah, you're free. Like nobody. So you have to make a choice, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And if you really, like I say, if you really want to make hijrah, you have to prepare yourself. It's not going to be easy.
100%.
It's not going to be Range Rovers. It's not going to be like, alhamdulillah, if you get it, good for you. But don't. That's the image people have of Dubai.
That's what I'm saying. No. But you know, there's some people. I'm gonna say it. There's some people out there who are in the arena of online and this and that, and they're flaunting this life, fancy cars, living large. You know, they're showing this to the Muslims that when you get here, this is what it is like. And I wonder, like, what's going to happen because for me, alhamdulillah, you can look at my page, like maybe every once in a while I'll joke around. I feel like I'll record someone else's cars or something as a joke. But like, I really don't show that kind of life. Like, I show the real. Like, no way. No. And not to say that no one shouldn't want to achieve nice things in this world. But if you're using that to draw people in, it's very scary because it's not the reality if you want to be here long term. So I just thought I would throw
it's
that out.
It's not hijrah anymore. They're gonna have the same intention like I had the first time when I came here.
Yeah.
You see the flash, and you can. One thing that I disapprove of a little bit is that you see a lot of brothers now. You know, let's talk about like the Andrew Tate lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
I have no issue with that. I like what he does, maybe except the girls and everything. But you know, mashallah, he became a brother. He talks about, you know, building yourself, make money and all that. That's good, man. That's very good. Yeah. But the problem is sometimes you forget that there's a lot of people who cannot achieve that, right?
Or maybe it's not even their qadar.
It's not their qadar, you know? So people might look down on these people, right? You're not successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, especially for the sisters, they see a lot of brothers, you know, the cars and this and then they look at their own husband driving a Camry. You know what I mean?
Kia.
You know, I'm driving an old Yukon, you know. But I think that's the danger sometimes. Like you think that you should be like that. No, that's like exceptional, right? That's like 1%. Most brothers, they have a normal life. Okay, you might have a good house, a nice car, but you're not that exceptional. Yeah. But if you make that the norm, then anyone who doesn't reach that is going to be like, oh, you're not.
Yeah. They won't even know how to actually fit into the normal life here. Most people don't even think there's a normal life. So many people think that like, you're in Dubai. I'm like, yeah, I'm in Dubai, but I live a normal life. They're like, how? It's not possible. Yeah. Yes, it is. Black belt.
Let's talk.
Black belt. Excuse me, Mr. Black belt. Like, I don't know too much about can you tell, look, this is a good question. Okay. Tell me the levels of the belts. Because when I was you remember I told you I did the karate back in the day, you know, I was doing the thing. I was wearing a white one. So tell me the levels. What's the difference between my white belt?
Let's talk about the adults. Okay, let's talk about the adults. So you got 5, I think. That is white, blue, purple, brown, and black. 5. Then you have a red belt, but that's like you have to be at least 62 years old to get it. That's like the masters, the masters belt. In general, it takes around 10 years to get a black belt.
10 years?
So I'm saying for the average guy who trains, okay, it might be a lot less, a lot more. I got it faster because I was doing twice, like 6 days a week, 2 times per day. So of course it's going to be shorter. But it was still like 7 years plus for me, right? And this is like twice a day for 7 years. You have guys who comes twice a week. The average dad, he want to work out a little bit. That guy might be like 12 years, maybe a little bit more, depending on how much time they want to put in. I think Jiu Jitsu is the longest black belt. Like if you compare with the karate, taekwondo, I think the normal, regular martial arts like Taekwondo, Karate is 3 years maybe.
Okay.
You can be very young. Like you have kids 12 years old, which I don't understand why they give a black belt to
a 12-year-old.
Because for me, a black belt, maybe you're not a master, but it's like you understand, right? You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like
when I clicked the Instagram and I seen that black belt, because you got to realize that in American culture, the only thing we know about karate, taekwondo, jiu jitsu, the only thing we know is if you got that black belt,
it's respect.
That thing is respect. So it was funny before we came in here. I was like, I don't know if I should like break the podcast protocol or something. Like, yo, show me a move. But no, we won't do that. But that's actually I find it quite interesting, and it like definitely Allah Mubarak is a beautiful thing, and it shows hard work and discipline to have such a thing like that. Have you ever competed? Like is there Olympics or any kind of?
No, not the Olympics. There's no jiu-jitsu in the Olympics.
But there is competition.
There's the World Championship. You have the European, the American national, all that stuff.
And you've competed in.
Yeah, I just competed last week.
Last week.
Yeah, in Abu Dhabi.
Tell us about it.
Not regular. It was Abu Dhabi Grand Slam.
Yeah.
I came second place. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, it's just a competition. I mean, to be honest, if it's a competition in Ras Al Khaimah or it's the Olympics, it's still the same thing. You're stepping on the mat, you're going to fight a guy that you don't know, or you might know him, but you don't know his style.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like you still get the same kind of pressure, whatever competition it is.
Have you ever felt bad when you, because I feel like mashallah, you're a really nice guy, bro. You're a nice guy, bro. Okay. But have you ever felt bad when you like, say you're in competition and you just really just lay the guy out like, bow.
No,
like
why should it?
What? He got in there.
My coach, he said, "What happened?" No, I was like, I didn't want to go hard, right? I think I told him like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt the guy." Right? No, this was like in training.
In
training.
Not in a full match is different.
In training. He saw I was holding back a little bit. Right? He said, no, but just go. I said, yeah, but I don't want to hurt the guy. And, he said, look, in Brazil, we have a saying. He said, I'd rather see your mother cry for you than my mother cry for me. So it's better that you put it on him than he puts it on you. You know? So
that's deep.
I don't feel bad. Like I'm not, if you would really hurt the guy, God forbid, let's say something happens in competition or training, like you hurt his knee really bad or, you break his arm, which is extremely rare. But let's say it would happen. Of course, I would say, oh, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, definitely. But
other than that, like just smashing the guy, no, it's
normal. And you know what? It's funny because like I asked the question, I want to get the response. But as soon as you said it, I had a flashback when I was 12 years old. Now I remember the guy's name is TJ Coward. He was
Coward?
COWART. Coward.
Okay.
So he was we played tackle football, yeah? And he was like the best player. And obviously I knew him, but like we're playing football. And I remember he knocked me over and I fell back and like I was shocked, But like that happened. But him and I probably still till today, we're probably friends on Facebook or something like that. And he played, I think maybe he even played college football and stuff like that. But the point is that like he did it. I got hurt, but I didn't feel bad. You know what I mean? Like I didn't look at him any different, like, like he hurt me or anything like that. So it's not, I think there is like a respect thing with it as well. Like if someone, it's a respect thing.
Let me give you a scenario. Yeah. What happens many times in not only my academy, many other academies, you have kids training with each other.
Yeah.
One guy might be stronger, beating the other guy. Now, there happens sometimes that the kids start crying, right? And the mother is watching on the outside. Okay? So as a mother, she's like, oh my God, Now, when they start leaving the mat, I always stop them. If you allow them to leave, right? Go to mommy. Oh, everything is gonna be okay. He's done for life. Like if he gets used to that,
if he gets to mom,
if he gets used to always going to mommy when he gets hurt, as a man, it's not good. Yeah. So if they start crying, I said, keep crying. I'm not one of those like, oh, boys don't cry. I said, no, cry as much as you want, right? But you're staying. You're not going anywhere. The moms, you see the moms.
The moms, yeah.
I said, lady,
moms be, yeah.
I'm like, lady, let me take care of it. And it might be like 30 seconds, sometimes like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? I said, cry it out, sit down, cry it out. Well, I want to go to I said, no, you stay here, keep crying. You finished? He's like, yeah. I said, go back, right? So you teach them that, yes, it's tough. It might be hard. You might, you got hurt a little bit, but you have to suck it up. You have to go back.
Yeah.
Because if you get used to, just quitting every time it gets hard, then it's going to be the same thing when you get, older as well.
Is this for men and women, like boys and girls? Because like
no, for boys, but especially for boys, but even for girls.
Yeah.
Even for girls. I will tell you something that happened just a few weeks ago. There were 2 kids training, and one boy just accidentally, he just fell on the other guy's tooth, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like he was trying to hurt him or something. And he started bleeding, right? He didn't lose his tooth or anything, but he just started bleeding. So first he started crying a little bit, and then he did like this. He saw the blood, and he went like the big. I got so scared, not because of him, because of the parents. Because when parents hear that kind of cry, it's just like I'm gonna die cry.
Yeah, I know.
He was screaming, and I said, relax, nothing happened. I said, no, and he started screaming, I'm never gonna train jiu-jitsu.
I'm sorry, Arab kid. I'm sorry.
Let's keep talking. Let's get. He's like, I'm never gonna train jiu-jitsu. I quit, and I start crying. I took him to the bathroom. Like it was 15 minutes of like pure chaos.
Yeah.
Okay, and he calmed down a little bit. Then he looked himself in the mirror. He saw the blood. Then he started screaming, I hate jiu-jitsu. I'm not,
That kid's gonna be something.
Wait. Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened. His father came, and I was really worried. Because any parent, when you see a kid crying like that, you want to know what happened, right? I said, sir, they sparred a little bit. The other guy accidentally fell on him. He said, I'm going home, and the dad was like, go back. Yes, he was Arab, because Arabs, they're a little bit tougher with the kids.
Yeah.
He said, go back, and he's like, no. And I actually told him, I said, brother, just for today, let him go home. He said, he's coming back.
That's what I'm talking about.
He said. I said, sir, I salute you. I said, wallahi la. I said, sir. He came back a few days after that, started training. Just last week, I saw the same kid training, destroying the kid. Like he was like super, the other kids hit him. He just went through the guy. And I told him, I said, what happened to you? Yeah. I said, what? I said, what happened?
That moment turned him in. I told you.
I went to his dad. I said, your son changed. I said, I don't know what happened. But he's like, night and day from that little boy who was crying. Like he was not, I hate jiu-jitsu. I'm never coming back. I quit. And just because his dad said, look, you're going back. You don't have an option. And this is something for all the brothers.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of man who, sometimes you want to be the nice dad, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, don't push him too hard. Maybe we're going to be like, no, kids need to be pushed to the max. I'm not saying break them, but they should not be comfortable.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, only because of his dad, only because the dad said, you going back, like you don't have a choice. You need to learn how to fight. And today, this kid went like, phew. And that's one kid. There's one kid. So you can imagine how many kids you can change. Like for me now, it's like a calling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to help as many kids, especially the kids that I see might be a little bit weaker or mentally weak, mentally and physically, right?
Yeah,
they might be very shy. I mean, I have so many stories. I'm not going to share them today, but there's so many times that you see kids like super scared. The importance of the father, okay? Let me say this again. To all the brothers who are listening, you have no idea how important it is for a father to stand behind his son. It is going to make him either a man's man if you stand behind him, or he's just going to be a regular Joe on the street.
And we don't want no one being no Joe Goldberg, because Joe Goldbergs or nothing like that. The people who are watching, they will understand. But no average Joe. We can't have average Joes walking around. That's
we don't want to have average Joes. You want your son to be a man, right?
Yeah.
So they need to be pushed, brother.
That's deep,
They really need to be pushed, man.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I told you the headphones. I told you with the headphones, it goes. In the dark room is worse than this is the light room. We're having like, the dark room.
It goes deeper.
Yeah, way deeper. So now I want to know, those boards, yeah?
Yeah, that's karate, man.
That's not.
No.
Have you ever tried it? Have you ever like gone through the boards?
No.
Or do you think it's like real? I think I don't know.
No, it's real. It's real. I have no disrespect for any other martial art. Of course, I'm biased. Like I love Jiu Jitsu. For me, Jiu Jitsu is like the superior martial art.
It's the hardest one.
I'm not gonna say the hardest one. I just think if your intention is to learn self-defense, right, then there's no better. But you have to learn the self-defense Jiu Jitsu. There's two sections, right? There's one where you learn the self-defense part, and then you have another part which is more sport. Sport is not really used for self-defense because there's a lot of moves that wouldn't be applicable to being on the street. But if you want to learn the self-defense part of jiu-jitsu, then I think jiu-jitsu is the best martial art. And you don't punch anyone in the face, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. No, so there's no punching in the face.
There's no punching. You punch for defense, if I can say like that. Like if you really get attacked and you have to punch to create distance, like to keep, that's something else. But it's not like karate, you try to knock the guy out.
Yeah.
Right? Or like kickboxing. These arts are very tough. I love kickboxing. But
that's where I was gonna go next. I was gonna ask you about that. UFC and kickboxing and stuff like that. Are you a big fan of UFC?
I watch sometimes, very rarely.
But no. Like so it's not that if somebody's interested in this martial arts that they kind of like lean towards this kind of sport or whatever.
No, but UFC is everything.
Yeah.
Like you need to know you cannot only do grappling.
Yeah.
Right? You have to learn.
Have you met the brother, the Islam Mazakovic one? You met him?
No.
No? Oh, okay, no.
I'm not really into that.
Not into it. I
train with some MMA fighters every now and then.
Yeah, but you're not like that's what I wanted. I'm not.
No. I'm not looking for. I never liked MMA. My younger brother is a professional fighter.
Okay.
MMA fighter. But for me, I never.
In the States or?
No, in Sweden. In
Sweden.
But now he's retired. I think it's I'm not gonna say retired. Maybe he's watching.
maybe he says, "Oh, you said I'm retired," and he comes back out.
Yeah. I said retired. Like maybe I should have.
Yeah.
No, but after when you reach 40, like you can. It's not like you're 25 or 19. Let's be honest.
Definitely. Yeah, so I want to kind of like start to like wrap it up and things like that. So the people, if they want to get their kids involved, how do they get? Would they go to your Instagram or like?
They can go to our website antarajj.com or they can check our Instagram.
Is there an age requirement?
No, we start from 4.
4.
We start from 4. I would actually recommend the older brothers first. No, I'm gonna say let's say kids and adults.
Yeah. But
many times parents always take their kids without thinking about themselves. And I always tell them, why don't you try? Yeah. No, I'm too old. And I'm like, how old are you? I'm like 32, 33. I'm like, you're like in the prime, as a man. I think the prime for a man is what, like early 30s something?
Yeah.
I said, give it a try. And here's the excuses, right?
Yeah, tell me the excuses. I want to hear the excuses. What are the top
Let's talk about excuses? The top 3. The top 3. I'm too old. I don't have time. Yeah. I think probably these 2.
Yeah.
These 2. Right? Then you have some other small excuses, Maybe he said like I have an old injury and I said, no, you don't have to worry about the injuries, but it's still valid, right? Yeah. He might be worried for something, but the main thing, and when you talk about the guys who said, I don't have time, I said, okay, but you do anything else? He said, yeah, I play paddle like twice a week. I said, okay, but you telling me paddle, right? This is for all the paddle brothers, huh? You're playing paddle twice a week, but you can't commit twice a week to learning like making yourself stronger mentally, physically, learning self-defense, not only for yourself, for your family.
Yeah.
You want to.
That's the first thing came to my mind.
You want to feel that you're a man who's able to defend your family. And paddle is not going to give you that. Football is not going to give you. Yeah, it's fun with the brothers, but try to do some. And subhanAllah, even the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba used to do wrestling. Right? Yeah. It's from the Sunnah of the Prophet to do wrestling. They used to wrestle in the masjid. So it's like you can have the niyyah of making ibadah. Like when you do the class, when you do a wrestling class, it's like your niyyah is to be, you want to follow the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. So it's like, there's so many benefits that you can get from this, right?
Yeah.
For yourself, for your family, for your deen, for everything. But people
because it's the sunnah, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's funny that you said wrestling, because when I was in high school, my freshman year, 9th grade, and 12th grade year, my senior year, I did wrestling. I was a wrestler. I actually was on the wrestling.
By what clothes are you wearing?
I was wearing the tights.
Yeah. So that's why jiu-jitsu is the best, because you dressed. You're not half naked. You don't have to wear that wrestling.
Yeah,
you know,
it was kind of weird. I mean, but this before Islam. I was a kid too.
I know a lot of brothers like the Dagestani brothers. It's like culture there, right? But if you're gonna talk about Sharia compliant, you can't be walking around with those tight wrestling. So
it used to be like a bit embarrassing as well. You feel like, in the natural fitra. Honestly, when I was like, especially in the 9th grade, what was I wrestling? 103? I was under 103. I was probably like 98, wrestling 103 for JV, junior varsity. But yeah, when you go out and you're going and you're standing in front of a whole entire like arena and you're going across and you're wearing little like this, and tights and the little thing and the little headset. Or like, and you getting ready to, it's a bit, you get shy. You know what I mean?
So the wrestling is good, but wearing the kimono, like wearing the jiu-jitsu uniform.
It's called a what?
Kimono.
Kimono.
You can say gi or kimono.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, kimono. And you're you're fully dressed.
Mashallah.
So you learn how to wrestle, you know, all these things. And alhamdulillah, you're fully covered,
Now, I do have one question one question, and then we go ahead and wrap it up. But you said you're from Algeria.
Yeah.
But brother, you got like the African color. Like, can you tell me a little bit? So
Algeria is in Africa, but you have three, should I say race, or three kinds of
tribes?
No, not three types of people. You have the Berbers, which are not Arabs. Okay. To be honest, I don't really know. No one really knows where they came from. All right.
Yeah.
But they're very white. They're like Russian white.
Yeah.
They have their own language.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have the Arabs who came from Khalij when Islam came, and then you have two types of Berbs. You have the white ones, and you have also black Berbs in the desert, in the Sahara Desert.
So
right?
that means you're from the south of Algeria.
South, but now it's mixed. It's almost like Brazil, like they live everywhere. You got white, black, all mixed.
Yeah.
But originally they were, and they also have their own language. Called Amazigh, Amazigh. So now I'm going to sound really ignorant, but I know they have their own language. If you ever seen those Tuareg, these guys who they cover their face.
Yeah.
You've seen this, like the women have open, but the men covers. Yeah. These guys they've been there for like thousands of years.
Yeah,
it's so you have these three main people in Algeria.
Yeah, it makes me think, because for me, I took the ancestry test, and I have quite a high, almost 20% in blood from. It's like it says Mali, but when I look at Mali, then Algeria is close to it.
Brother, we might be related. I did the same test.
Yeah,
20% Mali for me as well.
Yeah. So and the wild thing is that I know the actual family member. I know which family member it come from, and I don't want to talk too much about myself, but my mom's grandfather or great grandfather was a white man, because it says Scottish. Clearly, it says Scottish as well in there, and that's like it was a high percentage as well. So that was there, and my mom and my family, they told us that the man, he married or was with a black woman, and the family told him like, "What? Go."
Yeah.
But the black woman, I believe my mom was like, she's black as day. I mean, black as night, and her great grandmother, and they said her name was like, I can't remember her name at the moment, but yeah, they said she was from Mali. That's what they told us. But then again, I know my mom's side, any color that they have, I know that it's from that what I know. So it's quite interesting,
It's a mix, man. Even in my family, my father's side, they're very dark. My mother's side, they're not white, but they're like Emiratis, like white Emiratis, So I have cousins who, on my father's side, who are darker than me. I have cousins on my mother's side who like white, like they almost look like Russian,
Yeah, same with my family. My family, man. You see, they got green eyes.
His mother and my mother,
You'll be shocked.
But alhamdulillah, I stopped focusing less on this. You know, my kids ask me, where are we from? Right? Because, okay, you have a Swedish passport, you're born in Sweden, but you didn't grow up in Sweden. And even me, like I grew up in Sweden, my parents from Algeria, you know, my kids grew up here. So they got a little bit confused like that. What should I say?
Especially
like,
when the people ask you all the time,
yeah,
brother, where you really from? You know this question. You probably get it too.
He said like, but where are we from? I said, don't get confused. I said, don't start looking like where I'm from. And I said, you're a Muslim, alhamdulillah. I said, you can find it. When you grow older, you can start looking and finding your path and, you know, getting like, okay, I feel like we're more, but I think people get too into this, I'm half this, I'm quarter this. And like, nobody cares, man. You know, like
they don't care. Because me, even though I know a bit about it, because I wanted to know, because like, you know, people ask me, especially, and I only figured this out when I left America. Because America, someone actually, we're from Black American, I'm African American. Like we just like, we're a big mix of everything. So we don't really, but then when I came out of America, it was like, you know, I was getting pressure from every direction. Like, where's this guy really from? You know,
people always want to know. Like,
especially with us Americans. You know, we're so mixed with so many things, and like, like, hey, I'm a little bit of everything. You guys can't say anything to us. You know, so alhamdulillah, it's a good thing.
Alhamdulillah.
But yeah, man, alhamdulillah, bro. I hope I didn't leave anything out or didn't.
No, alhamdulillah. I think we covered a lot of things.
I hope this is beneficial for those who are looking to make hijrah, to get involved in martial arts. You know, any good that we said, hopefully Allah put on our good scales. And
before we finish, I have to invite you to start training.
Oh,
I can't be making dawah for 1 hour without telling you to start training.
Listen, bro, send me the address. Inshallah,
okay, we have to. Since you're a content creator, now you have to keep your word.
Oh,
we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this live. You have to come. Now you tell.
And I'm gonna make videos. I'm gonna make videos.
So you have to come. You have to try one class.
And everything, we record it.
Everything we spoke about today, because I want to show people it's not as hard as you think, right? It's super, super simple. It's safe. And again, you don't have to be fit. You don't have to be some street fighter, or, you know, people always put that picture in their mind, right?
Mortal Kombat.
It's just like for tough guys. And no, it's the opposite. It's for you to defend yourself against the top guys.
Yeah.
Right? So let's make it official. I'm inviting you now for your first class, inshallah.
This is going to be nice. I'm looking at the cameras like, it'd be really nice, because like, now that we've said it on the podcast, they're going to be looking for it. Oh, American Dubai going to be going to do it. And it's good, because then maybe someone may see me do it, and maybe myself touching the mat, you know, like this. And listen, I'll give you my word. I won't kick any instructors in the private parts.
No, don't worry.
I won't do that. Don't do that. But anyways, Jazakallah Khan for coming on. I appreciate it. And guys, don't forget, for the YouTube part of this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave your comments down below or any questions you have, and turn on that bell notification. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.